He controlled everything: what I wore, who I spoke to, where I went. For years, I mistook his control for love, until one unexpected phone call changed everything. A calm voice said something that shattered my world. "You're not the only wife." What followed didn't feel real, but I lived every second of it. This is the story he never wanted anyone to hear. My name is Emma, and I thought I had found my fairy tale. When I met Marcus at a charity gala 3 years ago, he was everything I thought I wanted. Tall, successful, charming. He owned a chain of luxury car dealerships and seemed to have his life perfectly together. Our courtship was a whirlwind. Expensive dinners, weekend getaways, flowers delivered to my office every Friday. My friends called me lucky. "You hit the jackpot, Emma," they'd say, and I believed them. Marcus proposed after just 6 months. The ring was enormous. The proposal was at sunset on a private beach. Everything felt like a movie. I said yes, without hesitation. But looking back now, I realized the control started even then. He chose the wedding venue, the dress designer, even the guest list. "I just want everything to be perfect for you, baby," he'd say. And foolishly, I let him. The first year of marriage was intoxicating. Marcus showered me with gifts and attention. He insisted I quit my job as a marketing coordinator. "Why should my wife work when I can provide for us both?" he said. It felt romantic at the time. He bought me a beautiful wardrobe, but I noticed he had opinions about everything I wore. "That dress is too revealing," or "those shoes don't match your status as my wife." I thought he was just particular about appearances. Slowly, my friends started disappearing from my life. Marcus always had reasons why I shouldn't see them. "Sarah is jealous of what we have," or "Jessica is a bad influence." One by one, I lost touch with the people who mattered to me. My family lived across the country, so it was easy to become isolated. Marcus became my whole world, and I thought that's how marriage was supposed to be. By the second year, the control became more obvious. Marcus installed a tracking app on my phone for my safety. He wanted to know where I was every moment of every day. If I went to the grocery store and took longer than expected, my phone would buzz with texts. "Where are you? You said you'd be home by 3. Why is your location showing you're still at the store? I'm worried about you. Call me now." He controlled our finances completely. I had a credit card, but he monitored every purchase. I had to ask permission to buy anything beyond basic necessities. "We need to be smart with money, Emma. Trust me to handle this." When I tried to bring up getting a part-time job just to have something to do, Marcus exploded. It was the first time I saw his real anger. "Are you saying I'm not providing enough for you? Are you ungrateful for everything I do?" I apologized and never brought it up again. Life became a careful dance around Marcus's moods. He was loving and generous when I followed his rules, but cold and cruel when I stepped out of line. I learned to read his expressions, his tone, the way he moved through the house. I wasn't allowed to answer the phone without his permission. He said telemarketers were a waste of time, and he preferred to screen all calls. Our landline was in his office, and my cell phone was monitored. Grocery shopping became a strategic mission. I had to stick to his approved list, shop at his preferred stores, and return home within his calculated time frame. Any deviation resulted in an interrogation. "The receipt shows you bought vanilla yogurt instead of strawberry. Why did you change the list?" "You were gone for 47 minutes. It should only take 30 minutes to get these items." I felt like I was slowly disappearing, becoming smaller and smaller in my own life. Marcus traveled frequently for business, sometimes for weeks at a time. These were the only periods I felt like I could breathe. I'd sit in the garden, read books he hadn't approved, or simply enjoy the silence without wondering if I was doing something wrong. But even from a distance, his control reached me. He'd call multiple times a day, want video calls so he could See, I was home and expected detailed reports of how I spent every hour. I miss you so much, baby. Show me what you're wearing. What did you have for lunch? Did anyone call or come by? Sometimes his trips seemed unusual. He'd be vague about locations, and when I asked about his meetings, he'd get irritated. You don't need to worry about business details, Emma. That's not your concern. I trusted him. I had no reason not to. By the third year, I realized I had no life outside of Marcus. My old friends had stopped calling. I hadn't spoken to my sister in months. I spent my days maintaining the house, preparing elaborate meals, and waiting for Marcus to come home and dictate the evening's activities. Tried to join a book club at the local library, thinking it would be harmless enough. When Marcus found out, he was furious. You went behind my back. You made commitments without discussing them with me. How am I supposed to trust you if you're sneaking around? The way he said sneaking around made me feel like I was having an affair instead of just wanting to discuss novels with other women. I canceled my membership and apologized. Again. Small things started not adding up. Marcus would mention restaurants he'd been to during business trips, but when I looked them up, they didn't exist in the cities he claimed to visit. He'd come home with receipts from places that didn't match his supposed itinerary. Once, I found a movie ticket stub in his jacket pocket. It was from a theater in our city, but dated during one of his business trips to Chicago. When I asked about it, he said his meeting ended early and he'd flown back without telling me because he wanted to surprise me. I went to see a movie. While waiting for you to get home from your errands, he explained. I wanted to surprise you when you walked in. It sounded reasonable, but something felt off. It was a Tuesday afternoon in November. Marcus was on another business trip, this time supposedly in Denver. I was folding laundry when the landline rang. Since Marcus wasn't home to screen it, I answered without thinking. Hello? Is this Emma? The voice was calm, female, unfamiliar. Yes, who is this? My name is Claire. I think we need to talk. You're not the only wife. The laundry basket fell from my hands, clothes scattered across the floor. I'm sorry, what did you say? Marcus is my husband too. We've been married for 5 years. I just found out about you. I couldn't breathe. The room seemed to spin around me. That's impossible. There must be some mistake. There's no mistake, Claire said gently. I'm looking at a private investigator's report right now. Marcus Taylor, 36 years old, owns Taylor Luxury Motors. Ring any bells? My legs gave out. I sank onto the couch, still holding the phone. This can't be real. I know how you feel. I felt the same way when I found out. Can we meet? I have a lot to show you. Part of me wanted to hang up, to pretend this conversation never happened. But another part of me, a part that had been buried under 3 years of control and manipulation, knew I needed to hear this. Where? I whispered. We met at a coffee shop across town, somewhere Marcus would never go. I recognized Claire immediately when she walked in. She looked like me. Same height, same hair color, similar style. It was like looking at a slightly different version of myself. She carried a thick folder and had the same haunted look in her eyes that I'd been seeing in my mirror lately. I hired a private investigator 6 months ago, she said, sliding photos across the table. Marcus had been acting strange, lying about his whereabouts. I thought he was having an affair. The photos showed Marcus with me, at restaurants coming, out of our house, kissing me goodbye. But they also showed him with Claire, and with another woman I'd never seen before. There's a third one, Claire said quietly. Her name is Rachel. She thinks she's his girlfriend. They've been together for 2 years. Claire spread out documents like she was presenting a case to a jury. Marriage certificates, property deeds, financial records. Marcus had been living 3 separate lives. He told me he traveled for business, I said, my voice hollow. Same here, but he was traveling between us. You live in Westfield, right? I'm in Eastport, about 2 hours away. Rachel is in Millbrook, another hour from me. The geography made perfect sense. His business trips were visits to his other wives. The vague locations, the strange receipts, the movie ticket stub, it all clicked into place. How did he manage it financially? I asked. He's very wealthy, but also very clever. He set up separate business accounts for each household, made us each feel special and provided for, but kept us completely separate. Claire showed me photos of her house. It was almost identical to mine. Same style, same color scheme, even some of the same furniture. Marcus had created 3 versions of the same life. What do we do now? I asked, feeling lost and overwhelmed. We take back control, Claire said firmly. I've been planning this for weeks. He's supposed to be with Rachel this week, then he'll come to you next week, then to me the week after. Same pattern he's followed for years. She pulled out a detailed schedule. Marcus's movements were predictable once you knew the truth. Every 3 weeks, he'd complete his cycle between the 3 of us. I've contacted Rachel. She's devastated, but willing to help. We're going to confront him together. The thought terrified me. Marcus's anger when I'd simply wanted to get a job had been frightening. What would he do when faced with this? I can't, I whispered. You don't understand how he gets when he's angry. Emma, Claire said, reaching across the table to take my hand. He's been lying to all of us for years. He's stolen our lives, our identities, our freedom. We're stronger together than any of us are alone. We planned it for the following Tuesday. Marcus was supposed to come home from his Denver trip, really his week with Rachel. Claire and Rachel would be waiting in our living room when he walked, and I spent the days leading up to it in a state of constant anxiety. Part of me wanted to call it off, to pretend I'd never gotten that phone call. But every time I looked around our house, the house he'd designed to match his other houses, I felt sick. Tuesday evening arrived. Claire and Rachel came over an hour before Marcus was due home. Rachel looked exactly like Claire and me. Same height, same build, same style. It was like he'd ordered 3 copies of the same woman. We sat in the living room, barely speaking, listening for his car in the driveway. When we finally heard it, my heart started pounding so hard I thought it might explode. The front door opened. Emma, I'm home. In here, I called, my voice shaking. Marcus walked into the living room carrying flowers and a small gift bag, his usual returning from a trip routine. When he saw Claire and Rachel, he stopped dead in his tracks. For a moment, nobody spoke. The color drained from his face, and I saw something I'd never seen before. Marcus was scared. What is this? He asked, but his voice had none of its usual authority. It's over, Marcus, Claire said calmly. We know everything. He tried to regain control, switching to the charming persona that had fooled us all. I can explain. This isn't what it looks like. Really, Rachel spoke for the first time, because it looks like you've been married to 3 different women and lying to all of us for years. Marcus's mask slipped completely. The charm vanished, replaced by cold calculation. You have no proof of anything illegal. Maybe not illegal. I found my voice, but definitely cruel. You stole our lives, Marcus. You made us prisoners in our own homes. I gave you everything, he snapped, his real personality finally showing. Beautiful homes, financial security, everything you could want. Except freedom, Claire said. Except honesty, except respect. The confrontation lasted 2 hours. Marcus tried every manipulation tactic he'd perfected over the years. Anger, charm, guilt, threats. But facing 3 of us together, his power was broken. He left that night, taking only a suitcase. The 3 of us sat in stunned silence after his car disappeared down the street. What happens now? Rachel asked. Now we figure out who we really are, I said. Without him. It's been 6 months since that night. I've moved back to my hometown, closer to my family. I got a job at a nonprofit, helping women in situations like mine. Claire and Rachel have become my closest friends. We understand each other in ways no one else can. Marcus tried to contact each of us multiple times, but we blocked him completely. His lawyer tried to work out financial arrangements, but we each had evidence of his deception. The divorces were finalized last month. I'm still learning how to make decisions for myself, how to trust my own judgment, how to recognize my own wants and needs. Some days are harder than others. But for the first time in years, I wake up each morning knowing that the day belongs to me. The phone call that shattered my world also saved it. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you turns out to be the best thing. I'm not the same Emma who answered that phone call. I'm stronger, wiser, and finally free. And Marcus? He's living alone in a small apartment across town. No more elaborate schemes, no more multiple lives. Just one man facing the consequences of his choices. As for me, I'm learning that real love doesn't control. It liberates. And for the first time in my adult life, I'm truly free to discover who I'm meant to be. This story serves as a reminder that control is not love, isolation is not protection, and it's never too late to reclaim your life. If you or someone you know is experiencing similar control or manipulation, please reach out for help. You are not alone.